Hi, I'm Brittney Bertier. I'm an actress and I'm an outlier.
Welcome to Outlier on Air with Ever Gonzalez, the show where we interview the founders, disruptors, and mavens of the world. Learn how grit, failure, and success are all a part of the entrepreneurial journey.
Hey everybody, welcome to Outlier on Air, the podcast where we interview founders, disruptors, and mavens. As always, I am your host, Ever Gonzalez. On today's episode, we have Brittney Bertier. She's an actress, singer, and co-producer of TRANSPLANTS. Brittney, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We are very excited to have you for a million different reasons. I consider you an entrepreneur. Obviously, you're an actress. You sing. You're doing a lot of amazing things, and we just kind of want to introduce you to our audience. You know, they're entrepreneurs that are in the trenches trying to make their own passion projects happen and get off the ground. And I think just your story, your overall story is going to be very beneficial to them. So again, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you recognize, an artist's life as a sort of entrepreneurial life, because it is very much the same.
Agreed. You know, we were talking about this off the air a little bit, and let's start with this. You are I would imagine the ultimate entrepreneur, just because, as entrepreneurs, we have services, software, products, whatever that we're trying to sell, that we're trying to get out there to the world. You are the product, mm-hmm. And I mean, we all think that our products and our companies, they're our babies, right? So we kind of are very protective about it, and we kind of feel bad when people reject it. With you, I mean, you are the product, and there must be a lot of rejection in the work that you do. Oh. How do you deal with it?
There's so much rejection. I would say it's close to like 80 to 90% rejection.
Really? That high?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've started keeping track of auditions and opportunities and then the ones that I book. And as I've gotten further in my career, the percentage has gotten better. But especially starting out, when you're green and brand new in New York or LA, it can be really tough to get that ball rolling, So yeah, definitely the rejection is high. But luckily in school, they did really prepare me for that. They said it would be, they didn't sugarcoat anything. They said, this is going to be tough. You're going to have a very strong sense of self. You can't waver on what you think you can and can't do or do not look like based on what somebody else perceives of you, because you're constantly throwing yourself at somebody else's judgment. And that's a weird thing to do on a daily basis as a human being.
So when you go out for a project or a role or something, and something that you're really passionate about, something that you really want, mm-hmm. We're going to get into this during this episode, but it doesn't seem that you're just an actress to be an actress. That you're working on some cool projects and things that I think that you are passionate about. So it must be even more difficult when you're rejected. So you get rejected today. How do you wake up tomorrow and try to do this all over again? What do you do personally to pump yourself up again?
Well, I think that Transplants, the web series I'm working on, that has been a huge help, because it's something I'm creating with a couple of very close friends that we feel strongly about, that we've been working on for years, and it feels good. If I get rejected from a commercial, it's like, oh, I missed out on that money, but I'm not personally hurt. If I miss out on an amazing role in a great musical or film, that hurts because I really want that artistic experience. So I guess the way that I deal with it is to put my creative juices elsewhere. As long as I'm creating something, I can maintain a balance and happiness. But if I just stew over it and don't put that energy somewhere else, then that wouldn't be healthy for me at all. And I've certainly gone through periods of time of being really sad about losing out on a part. But I think that I've learned sort of a coping mechanism. And I guess that would be just creativity somewhere else.
Good. So you keep moving.
Exactly. You don't look back. You just keep going forward. There's always going to be another opportunity. And I've sort of started to even believe that there are just some things that are meant for you and some things that just aren't. And that's just the way that it is. And you just keep trying, and you're bound to get something, right?
You're bound to get something. That's right. And obviously you said it gets easier as your career progresses. Yes. I just want to paint the picture a little bit to our audience of some of the things that you've done, and let me know if I've missed anything.
Sure.
We'll talk about Transplants, which you're a co-producer here in just a sec, but you've done King of the Road, the Roger Miller Story, a Netflix original series, Atypical, a feature film, Along the Way, My Fair Lady, and then you also write and sing music.
I
I
do.
mean, right?
Yeah.
You're working alongside Grammy Award winner Ted Pearlman
Yes,
as well.
he's
That's amazing
amazing.
stuff.
I know. It took years, but once the ball starts to get rolling and you just keep meeting people, I met Ted at a concert that I was doing. I think I was being paid $100 just to sing a couple of songs. I mean, like no big deal, right? And he happened to be in the audience, and he gave me his card, and we've just been working together ever since. I do demos for him all the time, and he helps me. I create music for our series, and he helps me record it. And he's a genius, so he adds so much to it. And we're working on our own projects and stuff. And it's just sort of the strength of small ties. You just never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, I love it. It's when people meet face to face, when they're talking, all that good stuff. That's why we hold so many events. A lot of the stuff that we do is online, the podcast and the some of the webinars and things like that. But I think the magic happens when we bring people together, when people are face to face talking, exchanging ideas, thoughts, and it obviously seems to be working for you as well. This is where some of the magic happens, some of the connections that kind of get you to that next level have occurred for you.
I totally agree with you, because you can never really know how you're going to click with somebody via texting or an email. It's so different in person. I completely agree with you.
So let's talk about Transplants.
Okay.
This new series, what's it about? And actually, we'll go from there. What's it about, and why did you get involved?
So it is a story about a guy and a girl who are just friends, and they move from New York City to LA, and it's a comedy. They cannot adjust to anything about LA, and it's hilarious how they fail frequently at trying to fit in or adjust to their new environment. And the whole idea was brought on because my friend Trip Langley and we met doing a film here in LA, and we had both spent years in New York before moving to LA, and we bonded over how different it is, specifically brunch, which sounds so stupid, but brunch in New York it starts at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and there's a DJ, and there's like all day mimosas, right? It's like a party. And the first time I was invited to brunch in LA, it was 9:30 in the morning.
Whoa, yeah.
I know, and nobody had a Bloody Mary, and it was over at like 10:45, and I was like, this is breakfast, And it was just so funny, and so we bonded over how different the two cities are. They're both wonderful in different ways, but they're just polar opposites of each other. And then we thought how funny it would be to do a sketch about it. And then from there, we just realized there were so many opportunities for comedy, and we decided to make a series out of it. So we did, and we've pretty much self-produced it with our friend Sarah Baum, who is the editor and director, and she films it. And between the three of us, we really get the whole thing done by ourselves, which has been really fun. I mean, I love spending time with them, so it's just really gratifying.
When did you decide to do this? When did you start working on it?
This has been a work in progress for almost 2 years,
Okay.
because if I get a contract out of town, then I'm gone for a few months, and I'll come back and Sarah's filming on location somewhere. So it's been something that we've had to work around our other schedules, but we're finally ready to release it. We have 7 full episodes, a couple of teaser trailers, and I'm just so excited to share it with people. I hope that they react as well as we do to it. I mean, we make ourselves laugh because we're so dumb.
So let's talk about the details then. Have you figured out, are you releasing information yet? You're saying it's going to be released soon. Where's it going to be released and when?
It'll be on YouTube. We're going to start it out on YouTube, and we're in talks with some other websites about it. But for the time being, we're gonna put out what we have on YouTube and just see how the reaction goes. But it's about, I would say the episodes are between 3 and 7 minutes. They're very short, and we already have an idea for where we want to go with the next season because we want to keep growing it. We don't want it to ever just plateau and become, oh, this is a funny scenario and this is a funny scenario. We have like a goal for where we want it to go, and this is sort of just even the beginning for us. So
I love that this is the opening kind of for you. I mean, so this truly can lead into, maybe even with a Netflix original series or like somebody else picking it up.
You
Are
never.
you open to this becoming something bigger and
Oh,
taking up more of your time?
absolutely. If I can't even explain. When you just click with somebody, Trip and I, we have the same exact sense of stupid humor. And really what we bring to the show is our real friendship where he is always making fun of me. And then sometimes I make fun of him, but like we just make ourselves laugh so much that I think that chemistry really comes across. And that's something you can't just create. It just has to be there. And if I could do that full time with Trip and Sarah, oh my God, yeah, that would be the dream. Yes.
So why the move from New York to LA?
So that actually happened accidentally for me. I don't think I was thinking about LA, but I don't think I ever would have made the distinct choice in my head to leave my best friends and family in my favorite city in the world. I have family out here in California, so I came out for vacation to kind of get away from Manhattan in the summer because it's super hot.
Sure.
And
Humid.
yeah, and I had been there for like a solid 10 months without leaving. And when I was visiting my family and kind of taking some time off, I happened to start auditioning, and I got a new agent out here who was bi-coastal, and then I booked a big pilot. And in the span of 3 weeks, more happened for me than had happened in the last 6 months in New York. So I just sort of ended up staying to see what it would be like. And I lived out of a suitcase for 7 months before I went home. And it's just kind of history now. Like I'm here all the time, and I still have a place in New York, in case I have to go back for work. But I'm based here. It just sort of happened.
How long has that been? How long have you been in LA?
It's been 3.5 years now.
Wow, really?
I know. Yeah.
So is it easier role wise and auditions? Obviously, being I would imagine the mecca of these opportunities. Is it, if it wasn't for those roles, would you still be in LA? I mean, do you enjoy it enough, or is that just where things are happening for you?
It's you just hit it on the nose. That's just where things are happening for me. I like LA enough for sure. I've totally learned to appreciate it. I hated it at first.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, when you're in New York and if you really love New York, you learn to love what's hard about it as well as what's great about it. And then it's really hard to get out of that mindset of I'm a New Yorker and like I define myself by living in this really difficult city, and everybody here, it's like, oh, it's so nice all the time, and everyone's just drinking green juice, and you sort of don't take it seriously. And it took me a while to learn to like it because it's harder to make a community out here. It's just a little bit more spread out. But you know what? It took me time, and I found some really solid people and some amazing communities, and now I really love it. But no, if I wasn't getting work out here, I would 100% be home in New York. I love that city, and it's closer to my family, and my best friends are all there. So yeah, it's really just work related.
Yeah, I had lived in both, and I really enjoy both of them, but they certainly are different.
How long were you in New York for?
A couple years.
Nice.
I grew up in LA, but lived in New York for a couple years now. For whatever reason, living in southern Utah.
I saw that. I mean, beautiful. Jeez.
Oh, it is beautiful, and obviously raising a family is a whole lot easier out here. And
ideal, yeah.
Yeah, but we still get to travel quite a bit, so it makes up for it.
That's great.
Now let's talk about the business part of this too, right? I mean, we talked about being rejected and kind of looking for your own opportunities, things like that. But there's also a business behind this whole creative outlet that you have.
Yes.
You have an agent and things like that, but you must be doing a lot of the hustling and a lot of the business side of it as well. What is that like for you, and do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. There are definitely times where I get tired. Like it ebbs and flows, but I've had people say, "Well, you always seem to be doing something." And my agents never get me out. And I say, "Well, it's not the agent's job to get you everything. It's the agent's job to help. But you can't just stop doing the footwork, right?" I mean, and I would say that it's been about 50-50 between my agents and I, the things that I end up working on. It's 50% things they find for me and 50% things that I find just by meeting people or finding auditions on my own. And I think that there's just not time to sit and wait in this business, in any business. And so, yeah, I do a lot of footwork by myself, and I keep in contact with them about what I'm working on and if I'm in a callback for something that I got for myself and vice versa, they're always telling me what they're submitting me for. But it's a real union. It's a collaboration. It's not anybody's sole job, is how I see it.
And it doesn't seem to end, right? I mean, there's
No.
always something coming
Yeah.
out. There's always something you're working towards.
Yeah. That I totally burn out at times. There are days where like I just need to take a day to myself and not think about submitting online or meeting a director for coffee and just being like a person with nothing to do. And I think that that's how I stay balanced. And I read The Artist's Way a couple of years ago. Have you heard of that book?
I haven't, no.
It's a really great book. It's great for entrepreneurs. It's great for really anybody. It's really about unblocking yourself creatively and how we can all live more creatively, not just quote unquote artists, but every human. Like creativity is healing and important. And anyways, it talked about how if you're constantly pulling from your well, you're going to dry up. And so you have to be putting experiences in. And that's something I've really taken seriously. I try to hike as much as possible, try a new thing every week. When I'm really feeling burned out, I like to play my ukulele and learn a new song or write a song. I know it's so basic, but it's true. I just like sort of zone out. If I'm filling my life with new experiences and friends and love and a book, even in little ways, it helps, is what I found. Because you can't just keep going and never doing anything to sort of be healthy and fulfill the other side of yourself.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great advice, actually.
Yeah, I really highly recommend that book. You should read it. It's interesting. It's a little gooey. It's a little hippie, but it's good.
Okay, we'll have to check it out and possibly put up a link for it on our site as well. But so now, when we think about young actresses and the business, especially there in Hollywood and everything that comes along with it, there's also a dark side to it, right? The underbelly, the disgusting stuff. How do you navigate through all that? I mean, I would imagine if you're not careful, it would be easy to kind of get stuck and entangled in that entire mess. You're having success. You seem to be in control of your own destiny a lot more than most young actresses. How do you kind of get around that?
Well, I've been sort of fortunate in that I haven't encountered too much of it personally. There have certainly been times that have been trying. I had, for instance, I was in a film where I had to die, and the way that I fell didn't look natural to the cameraman, but if I did it any other way, you'd be able to clearly see at my dress. Mm-hmm. And I was not okay with that. That was not something we had talked about. And I had to really stand my ground. And he left probably never wanting to work with me again. He didn't even say goodbye to me. But you have to decide what's more important to you, your career or your self-respect,
Sure.
And for me, that's clear to me. So I'm lucky in that respect, and I owe that a lot to my upbringing and my family and the values that they've instilled in me. I'm also not much of a partier. I'm very social, but I'm not really in the Hollywood scene, and I'm sure that would be helpful if I met more people who were in the thick of Hollywood, but that's just not really what I do. So I don't really encounter the darkness as much. And I think especially because of my background in theater, since half of my career is theater driven, that there's really not much of that at all in theater. So I'm super lucky that way. Really just beautiful people who want to create art and do.
It sounds like you're having an amazing time, and from the research that we've done and the clips that we've seen and everything, you seem to have it like together right now, right? What are you struggling with right now?
Well, right now I happen to be in a good place, but I'm doing a show, as you said, The King of the Road at Laguna Playhouse, and I'm living in this beautiful condo by the beach, and the show is so artistically fulfilling, and the people are incredibly lovely, and I happen to be 15 minutes from my family out here, so it's really nice. But usually when I'm in LA, I do struggle a lot because even though I do acting and modeling jobs pretty consistently, I still have to do other work. And so freelancing in between is difficult to find that work to sustain. And also I have to very delicately work around when I book an acting job and I have to turn down another job, or I have to, call out of another job. People get upset, but it's like constantly juggling a bunch of balls. And there are days where I just feel like I've dropped honestly all of them. So I do not have it all together. I'm in a sweet spot right now because I'm on a contract, but it's very much up and down for me and for all the actors that I know.
Let's talk about your parents. You kind of mentioned them a little bit and how you were raised. Your father was an entrepreneur. I believe your mother was a school teacher. Mm-hmm. Did you always know that this is the kind of work that you were going to get into, or did you want to follow into one of their footsteps?
There was a time I never wanted to be a teacher. No. I love kids, but I was just like, this is not for me. I'm not going to be able to remember all the things. Like, I need to go to school again.
Nice.
Entrepreneurship, I was really into that in high school. I won the Entrepreneurship Scholarship Award, which helped me go to college. And I was part of a junior achievement program back in Massachusetts. And my cousins and my aunts, everybody, they have their own businesses back in Connecticut, and they, just that's how they sustain. My cousin has a salon, and my aunt and my other cousin has a bakery, and our entire family works there. And my dad and my brothers have a business. And so I've always known that I've wanted to do something where I didn't have to answer to the man all the time.
Good for
you know what I mean?
You're at the right place.
Exactly, to have some freedom. And then I just grew up doing musicals, and we didn't really have enough money for me to go away to camp or take lessons or things of that nature for a while. So I sort of fell into studying it later and was lucky to get into a good program for college. But it became clear that that was the road I wanted to take. And I remember telling my guidance counselor in high school, he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I think I want to be an actor and a singer." And he said, "Okay, well, what's your next choice?" Because he had no idea how to help me. And I was like, oh, man.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
And obviously you didn't listen. You kept, this is it. You're doing it, right? I mean, you're living the dream, the good and the bad, right? You're doing it.
Yeah. I was very hard-headed as a 17-year-old. I remember I had gotten into a regular school, but I didn't know, I didn't think that their drama program was really good, and I wanted to get into a good one. And so I unenrolled, and I decided to take a year off and study and do theater and start auditioning in New York. And they wouldn't, and in my high school, they wouldn't put me up on the board of seniors because they couldn't say where I was going. And I was like, just write that I'm going to be an actor. I'm still graduating from here. This is not fair, And I fought them on that, and they finally put it up because I was like, not everybody has to have the same path. And that's what I think our society is always telling us,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this podcast, right? What we're doing, we interview entrepreneurs from all over the world, doing some amazing things, and you're right. You can make a living doing whatever you want for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. Something that you're passionate about. Not everybody needs to be at a corporate job. Not everybody needs to be the president of their own company, right? Whether it's you're an artist, you're singing, whatever it is, who cares? As long as you're doing your own thing and you're happy.
Yes, a diversity. It's the spice of life. I think it's wonderful. I try to support as many independent and local businesses as I can because they're generally much more pleasant and they have good products. I mean, things sort of get lost in the high corporate world sometimes. So I really appreciate that about small business and those people.
So your parents, what do they think when you were pursuing this as a career?
Oh God, my
and
mother.
What do they think now too?
Well, that's interesting. My dad was always just sort of blindly supportive of whatever I wanted to do. He's like that kind of dad. Like, if this is going to make you happy, like, you're my little girl, go do it. But my mom was like not a theatrical person by any means. And she thinks the theater is dark. And she really did not want me going into this business because she knows how hard it can be for a woman, especially. Sure. And she didn't start changing her mind until, I can't believe it was 10 years ago, but I was doing a local production of Barefoot in the Park, a Neil Simon play. And it's just me and basically a couple of other actors. And I was 18 at the time. And when she saw me in that role, like how dedicated I was to it and how she realized it really wasn't about me having FaceTime out in the public eye. Like that wasn't what I was after. It was after telling stories and using my creativity the way I wanted to. She started to change her mind. And today she's one of the most supportive people in my life. And she knows the business so much more than she would have. You know, she knew nothing, but she really learned about it with me as I went. And now I actually turn to her with ideas or problems and concerns, and she gets it. So that's been really nice to have her support.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's important, right? I mean, we, you know, especially
Yes.
with us, we entrepreneurs and our community here that we built, Outlier, we all think that we can kind of put our heads down and get to work and do it ourselves, but
No.
it's so much easier and so much better when we have support, whatever that
Oh,
looks like, whether it's parents, a spouse, friends, whatever.
yeah.
So much easier.
I think that's just like how it is in life. Nobody can just do everything by themselves.
Agreed.
You need to have that network.
And
Completely.
you have that network, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, I'm so lucky. I've sort of found and created this close-knit group of friends that I rely on a daily basis, and they rely on me, and I do not know what I would do without them. I would probably cry.
Nice. Up until this point, what has been the single biggest reason for your success?
I think it's been determination. Just I've never stopped for very long. There have been points where I've taken off like a month here to regroup or whatever, but I really just kept going, and I think that's the only reason. If I never pushed myself to keep going, nothing, I don't think any of it would have happened. So
So
it
important.
didn't fall into my lap by any means.
We have entrepreneurs on the show all the time. They're talented, right? They're good at what they do, but not
Mhm.
necessarily always the best, not necessarily always the biggest, the strongest, whatever. But
Yeah.
determination and grit, in my
Yeah.
opinion, are uh, a big indicator for success,
Yeah, I
right?
100% agree with you. I don't think the success always goes to the most talented or best looking person. It goes to the person who never stops.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And you figured it out at a young age. Good for you.
Yeah, I think I read it somewhere though.
Nice.
I don't know where. My best friend, I think, found it and sent me some article. I remember reading it and thinking, that makes sense. I can do that then. I don't need to be the best, but if I don't stop.
That's right. They can't ignore you then, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So you've done a lot, right? A lot of things that I would think are scary for a lot of people, right? Putting yourself out there,
Mhm.
auditioning, being on stage, being
Mhm.
behind in front of the camera, all that stuff. That's scary stuff. But right now, what scares you the most
About the business, you mean,
about
like, or
anything in
just in
life?
life?
Yes, in your journey, yeah, all of
In
it.
in my journey. I think honestly, what scares me the most is figuring out how to sustain my career as I get older and hopefully have a family one day. That's something that I'm not sure how to figure out. And recently, some women have been coming into my life who are strong actors and artists who have been able to do both. And so it's really inspiring to me because I don't want to just give up what I've worked so hard for another passion. I mean, obviously family would be first, but I want to have both of them someday. And so I think that's my greatest fear. It's like, okay, I know how to do this on my own when I'm only answering to myself. But once I'm responsible for other people, it's like how to keep that as a part of my life still. You know, that's intimidating to me.
I'm gonna want to have you back on the show when that happens because listen, truly there is a balance, right? And
Yeah.
it's just the way it is, right? With life and the way it works. Women have to make that choice on a regular
Yes.
basis. Where men,
Yeah,
we go out and we do what we want for the most part.
exactly.
And so I have so much respect for women that have to make that choice to want a family, but still want a career. And, if they want to be home with the kids, awesome. If they still want to do some outside of the home, awesome as well. And so, yeah, keeping that balance is going to be
Hard.
hard. And we're going to want to see how you do it.
Me too.
That's right.
I want to see too. I think that ideally, I mean, this is what I've worked out in my head, that it would be best if I ended up with someone who was not also an actor, because those two flux schedules could be difficult. Not that I would refuse it if that's the person I fell in love with, but I know that from years of nannying in Manhattan, I know that I want to be home a lot when my kids are not yet in school. I think those are really important years. So it'll be interesting to see how I figure that out, but I know I'm never going to be able to just stop because it's who I am.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
As we start to wrap this up a little bit, tell us, when all of this is said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I think I want to be remembered. I think I mostly want to be remembered by the people that I love, and I hope that I make an impact and make their lives a little easier as they make my life much easier than it would be without them. And if anybody outside of my close-knit circle was ever to remember me, I hope that I made them laugh.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, this is such a cliche question, but I think it's valuable in this case with our audience, right? Those that want to kind of whether get into your industry or just an industry that they're not in right now, what kind of advice would you have for them? What can they do right now in order to kind of get them to that next level?
I would say to prepare yourself with as much knowledge as possible. The first thing to do is read up on what it is you want to do, and then reach out to the people that you know of, even if it's your best friend's second cousin. But if you know somebody in the business, right, you reach out and you learn from their experience. You ask them questions and they share with you. I mean, I did that when I was going to college. I reached out to Hartt School alums and said, hey, how was your experience here? And then what was your experience like moving to New York? And you create people that you can sort of learn from. And then in my business, and I would think that this would pertain to any other business, but in theater and film, you just see as much of it as you can. You go to as many shows as you can, you see as many films as you can, and you learn by constantly exposing yourself to the medium that you want to be in. I
love that. It goes across the board.
Yeah.
For everybody that's listening, that's great advice.
Thank you.
You're obviously wiser than beyond your years, right? So we appreciate that piece of advice. For those of us that that are listening, that have gotten to know you a little bit here in these last 25 minutes or so, want to get to know you a little bit more, check out Transplants and some of the other work that you've done. Where can we find you online?
You can find me. My website is brittneybertier.com. I'm on Instagram and Twitter all the time. That's just at Brittney Bertier. My IMDb shows anything new coming up. And that's pretty much it for right now. I guess maybe I should have something more, but that's all I have for right now.
No, that's great. So Outliers, you can go to outliermagazine.co. That's outliermagazine.co. First of all, subscribe to the podcast, rate, review it, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. But there we're going to have links to Brittney's website, social media accounts. Check it out. She's doing some amazing things. Brittney, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, for your words of wisdom, for your story, your journey, the ups and the downs. I think it's been really valuable for our audience. I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for having me. It means a lot to me, and you asked all the greatest, most right questions, and you made it easy.
I appreciate it. Great. Outliers, we'll talk to you tomorrow.